guess that's a sheep.
Well, sheep and lambs are the same thing.
Are they?
Yeah, I mean, sheep are adult lambs.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Kinda. Welcome to Pick It and Flick It podcast.
I guess I didn't know that. I'm Natasha.
And, what did that movie make you sleepy or something?
No, I mean, it's just late.
What did we watch? The people don't know. They can't read the title or see the thumbnail.
I'm sure they can guess by the sounds that I was making. We watched Silence of the Lambs.
The cult classic. Actually, it's not even a cult classic. It's just a classic from 1991.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how old this movie was.
I thought it was older, honestly.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh. I don't think I thought that it was older. I just didn't realize how old it was.
I know it was early 90s, but I feel like it's something that, like, would have come out in the 80s.
Well, it was probably filmed in the 80s, right? It only came out in 91, so I'm sure there was like 2 years worth of production and filming.
That's possible.
Yeah. Interesting. Have you seen this movie before?
So, it's one of those movies that I think I saw, but then when I watched it again, I'm like, I remember bits and pieces, but I don't remember the whole movie.
I saw it when I was in high school.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure I saw it either in high school or middle school, or it was like on TV. So I saw like the edited version of it.
Where they don't show him tucking his wiener into his legs.
Right.
That was the only scene in this that actually freaked me out. The whole like mysterious like subplot of Hannibal the cannibal, you know, that he becomes like this horror icon in a sense, right? But he's really not that scary. He's a little creepy.
Yeah.
A little creepy.
Well, it's weird because it's about, I feel like it's supposed to be about Hannibal Lecter.
Right.
He's on the cover. He's
right.
like such a big character, Anthony Hopkins, whatever.
That's what you were going to say upstairs, right?
Yeah, but
that was the exact same thing I was thinking.
The movie's barely even about him.
And he's barely even in it.
Right. It's more about Buffalo Bill than it is Hannibal Lecter.
Right.
And that's crazy to me. And maybe the sequel's more about
don't know. Never
Hannibal
seen the sequel.
And his killings.
I have not seen. So I know Anthony Hopkins returns for the sequel, and then he returns for the prequel that came out in 2002. He does not obviously return for the prequel of the prequel in 2007, which is called Hannibal Rising.
He doesn't return?
No, because it's young Hannibal.
Oh, okay.
And like I was saying earlier, Anthony Hopkins is old in this movie.
Yeah, that's before CGI was was primed to where it's at now.
He's old in this movie, let alone have a movie. The sequel comes out 10 years after this movie. So it's kind of like, wow, all right. And I'm curious to go see him now because I forgot how good this movie was. Yeah. But here's the thing with this. There's no gimmicks, right? There's no, like, mysterious plot twists or anything like that. It's just
there is a plot twist.
Not really.
When they show up at that house that they think is his and it's not.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess that is a plot twist.
But
had the little black phone vibe from there, yeah.
Yeah.
Which we lacked to talk about. The two different houses that were being used. But yeah,
sorry, guys.
I guess there's like a a little bit of a twist there, but I don't see that as a plot twist. I'm so used to like plot twists now where it's like jaw dropping. Oh my god!
Right.
But mind you, this wasn't the first movie to do that, but this was a trendsetter. You know, this movie becomes a staple in like, and it's not, I wouldn't say horror, but it becomes a staple for the fascination of scary movies, scary icons and stuff.
Serial killers, I feel like, because I don't know how people were in the early 90s because I was not around until mid 90s. Mm-hmm. And even then I was born, so I wouldn't know what was happening even until 2000s. But I feel like it kind of set off like the interest in serial killers. Like Clarice is so interested in Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah, the fascination of the psychology behind it.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
And that's so interesting to me too.
Well, what's interesting to me on that point is that Hannibal Lecter is a doctor.
Right.
He's a psychiatrist, So that's why it's very fun to me because you can't hate the guy.
No.
He's
not like, I can't say he's not a bad guy because obviously he's a bad guy.
Yeah, he killed and ate people.
But but like even with Clarice, he's like, I'm not coming for you. The world is much better with you in it,
Yeah. Does this movie remind you of the Zodiac?
A little bit, yeah.
And mind you, Zodiac is based on a real thing. And then I want to say that, and don't quote me, I don't know if you want to Google this real quick, but I think Buffalo Bill is based around a serial killer. I know Hannibal Lecter is not, but I think Buffalo Bill was based on a serial killer, probably from the 80s or something like that. And I couldn't remember what it was. I think I read that somewhere. But yeah, so
it was from like the Wild West, though.
Oh.
Yeah.
Really?
That's how they got the name Buffalo Bill. But
no, I'm not worried about that. I'm saying...
Why is that?
I'm saying that the character is based off of a real person. Which I think it is. Or I thought it was. Maybe I'm wrong, but the thing that I was saying about the Zodiac is that, like...
We should probably edit this out.
No,
Us searching, it was inspired by a real-life serial killer such as Jerry Brudos.
Never heard of him. Next.
And Ed Gein.
Obviously, they killed people.
Well, so Jerry dressed in his victims' clothing and kept their shoes. Ed Gein, who fashioned trophies and keepsakes from their bones and skin of corpses, he dug up at cemeteries. He also made a female skin suit and skin masks.
Oh, wow. So a little bit of Texas Chainsaw going on, too.
Yeah.
Some Leatherface shit. We don't need to edit that out. See? We got all the answers right then and there.
Yeah, as we're, like, sitting here in silence, Googling. Sorry, y'all.
I wasn't sitting in silence. What I was saying about the Zodiac Killer, though, is that there's, like, these subliminal messages, these anagrams, or whatever you would call it, that Hannibal Lecter is feeding, the government, feeding the FBI, feeding who is the mom? Was she a senator, right?
Senator, yeah.
And he's like feeding them these like anagrams, and then the only person to figure that out is Clarice. Who's
right.
Like,
and the fact that she just picks up on it, she's like,
yeah, really fun. I really like that.
Yeah.
Like problem solving, mystery stuff. And this is why I always say now that we can't. There's nothing original anymore because this did it, right? But I like the like murder mystery. Kind of like dive, following the rabbit hole, figuring the stuff out, the thrillers of it, because it doesn't have to be scary or gory, which I did actually like a couple of the special effects that kind of sat on this, because this is 91, right? We got pictures of people that were being de-skinned, and then we saw an autopsy, and that was the one question you asked. Did they ever like show it? And I didn't think they did, but they pan out, and you see quite a bit. I mean,
kind of, yeah.
Yeah, because they flip her over. You see the like markings that he cuts off of the victim's body and stuff. So pretty ballsy, I think. This was, to me, again, to go back to the Halloween Extravaganza 1, it reminds me of the Exorcist. Kind of like groundbreaking in a way, where like the bad guy is just like this mysterious person, and we're trying to figure out what's going on with it. Like they were trying to figure out why she was being possessed by a demon. In this movie, we're trying to figure out why he's just killing people, and then of course
well, and it's nice because I feel like a lot of horror movies now, it's just like constant horror, constant jump scares, constant, like you're constantly on your toes, and sometimes that's just like,
yeah,
I just want to relax, and then when something happens, it's interesting, but it's not like jump scare.
I want to watch a relaxing, scary movie. Can we watch Hannibal Lecter tonight?
Yeah, let's watch Silence of the Lambs. I need to relax a little bit.
Was there anything scary in this movie for you? Because, I mean, for me, I think, like I mentioned, when we kind of see him for the first time cross-dressing, when he's videotaping himself dancing.
Yeah.
Freaked me out, man. It really freaked me out.
I think like being trapped in a hole freaks me out.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
But
you weren't like
scared
of it. Yeah. I think the lines that I always hear from this movie in particular, actually, is like, it puts the lotion on the skin, like, but that's not creepy to me. It's just annoying because it's improper English.
But he doesn't want to refer to her as a person.
Yeah, and right, and that's why when they pointed out when the senator's on TV saying her name repeatedly, is they were trying to make it
make him recognize that she's actually a human and not just his toy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think this movie's kind of ahead of its time too?
Yeah, kind of.
Because like
But,
we're
I
talking
mean,
about
there's
transvestites, right?
Yeah, but
And cross-dressing.
Transvestite is no longer a term.
That's what I'm saying, though. Well, it's because we've evolved, but like,
Yeah.
I'm sure that there's some freaky person out there that's feeling the same way because Hannibal Lecter makes the comment, there's only 3 universities in the country that will, recognize the fact that you can get gender reassignment surgery.
Right, and that's crazy.
Right, and this is 91. But
Right.
it's still like, it's funny that it's a current topic, and yet it was highlighted in a movie that
came out 30 years ago.
Yeah, 3 decades old, which is insane.
Yeah.
So I appreciated that too, honestly, because when movies are timeless, it puts a huge staple on itself. Timeless in the sense that the story could still be relevant today. Obviously,
Right.
there's no,
And it doesn't so many. I feel like so many movies now focus on the social media type, or cell phone type things.
Yeah,
or
everyone can be
technology
tracked.
And everything.
Yeah.
And this is nice that it just they don't really talk on their phones much. They talk on their walkie-talkies, and then they'll pick up the phone once in a while. But it's very, I don't know.
Yeah, it's the ending of this movie. So I want to mention this real quick because the last episode that we did yesterday, we kind of highlighted the whole storyline, right? We went down plot by plot. This movie's 3 decades old. If you haven't seen it yet, well,
yeah, if you have no idea what it's about or who
it.
it's about, then Hannibal Lecter is a cannibal. Buffalo Bill is someone that skins people and kills them, but Hannibal Lecter is in jail at the beginning of the movie, gets out, and at the end of the movie, he's trying to murder someone else.
He's trying to
and
murder the doctor.
Buffalo Bill is killed at the end of the movie.
Right.
So
perfect. You summed it up great. I wanted to say that though because at the end of this movie, he calls Clarice at the celebration ceremony for solving the murder mystery saga.
I don't think that's the ceremony for her solving it. I think it's her getting promoted or her being put into the FBI.
Oh, yeah, because she graduates.
Yeah.
All right, my bad. So, yeah, that's what it is. Anyways, he calls, and, if he were to have called in 2022, they would have known.
They would have been traced immediately.
Yeah, they would have known where he was immediately, because when you get caller ID, it tells you where the number's coming from. So that's interesting. Like you were saying, though, it's not like current day modern murder mystery movies, thriller movies. It's very technology.
Yeah, and they would have, and I just feel like
focused.
they would have, if it were any other movie, they would have focused hardcore on, oh my God, let's trace this call right now, and it would have been but this was she was just very calm about it.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah, she kept her cool. And do you think, not to get too off track as far as mysteries and murders go, but we haven't had a modern day serial killer. We get mass murderers, right, with the school shootings and stuff
in
like
real
that.
life?
Yeah, in real life, yeah. But we don't have serial killers anymore.
Not really, no.
Because it's very difficult to get away with that stuff.
And that's the thing. That's when I listen to shows like My Favorite Murder or even watch murder documentaries, it's always from the 70s, 60s, 70s, 80s, maybe 90s, but it's just the kids were out and about doing whatever they wanted. Parents weren't tracking them. Nowadays, there's so many, parents trace their kids all day, every day.
Right.
And, it's everyone's on social media all the time. So if someone goes missing,
and there's a camera every 2
immediately.
seconds.
Yeah.
We have 4 cameras on this house. So it's people, you can't get away with anything.
Right.
You can for the time being, but you'll get caught. There's never a safe portion of time where you're okay, I just murdered 26 people and no one's ever going to find me.
Right, because you go to Walmart and there's cameras inside, cameras in the parking lot. You go to anywhere pretty much, there's cameras.
Right. So
whether or not you know it.
It's really difficult to...
But back then, they didn't have that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And everyone was a lot more nonchalant about what they did. So.
We kind of talked about this again in the Black Phone episode. So if you haven't listened to that, make sure you go back and check it out as we continue the Halloween extravaganza number 3.
Woo.
But... So we haven't done this in a long time, but do you have 3 likes, 3 dislikes? Can we talk about stuff that we liked and didn't like? We might have to do 3, but I got a couple of likes and a couple dislikes.
Okay.
The cinematography in this movie, to begin with, is freaking awesome.
Yeah.
There's a scene where he's in the the jail cell, and Clarice. We're looking at Clarice through the glass, and then his face comes into. So her face is on the right side of the screen, and his face comes into the reflection of the glass on the left side, and it's just that shot is just so damn cool. I really liked that. I remember it specifically when I watched it the first time, and I saw it again. I'm just like, holy shit, because you don't see you got to have the right angles and the right lighting and stuff like that. And I don't know if it was edited afterwards or whatever. But I feel like nowadays it's really easy to just green screen stuff,
right.
CGI stuff, slap it up there. So you can definitely tell that there's a little bit of, like, they're trying to make things interesting as well as keeping things moving and eerie at the same time.
Right. And even when he's in the jail cell, and she's not the jail cell, when he's in the police station, wherever he is, it looks like a museum.
Yeah,
but
it's
when
like
it gets
City
put in that
Hall or something.
cage, yeah. And she's walking around, and the camera is just like following her around and following him around.
Yeah, through the bars and stuff.
Yeah, that's cool.
I really like that. There's a couple things that, for me, was just kind of like hokey to the extent, like, how the hell did he raise that guy up by himself when he escapes? And, like, he flays him open and then raises him up all by himself? I don't know. It's just... it's a bit of a reach for me, you know. Same thing with the when Clarice figures out that what fake name did he give?
Buffalo Bill?
Yeah, but what
John Grant?
John Grant, yeah. She just goes running into this creepy ass house that's filled with trash and garbage and doesn't even like.
But she knew.
Yeah, but she knew. And he goes running into the basement, and he just goes running down there. To me, he grabs the gun. He's following her around with night vision goggles, which also that was one of the things that I liked.
That was cool, yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the things I liked when we got his point of view. You know, kind of had the corny goggle cartoon view. But first of all, where the fuck does a guy like that get night vision goggles, like military grade night vision goggles that he's spying on women with?
I don't know. Maybe he was in the military before.
I don't know. A little bit of a plot hole for me. But the other thing, if he was a real murderer, right? Or he wasn't in the story, but if in the case that the person was just a cold-blooded murderer, just wanted to kill people constantly and not worry about harvesting their skin, she would have been dead the second she walked down there.
Right. But she's too skinny for him to want.
I know. That's what I'm saying, though. Like, in a real, like, situation.
Right.
She can't just go running in there. That bugged me a little bit. She should know better than that, especially being a trainee. Someone that we see in the beginning of the movie, like, working hard, going through training events.
Right.
You know?
And failing.
And failing at them.
Yeah.
And maybe that was, like, the purpose of that whole situation, where she was, like, keeping an eye on all the corners and stuff when she was going through.
Right. That's
it doesn't matter, though. This is a crazy
that
person's house. You've never even been in there before.
I know. For some reason, I thought that she had gotten captured at some point, but...
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know. I thought that happened.
Really?
And then we watched the movie, and I'm like, oh, I guess not.
Oh. Well, anyways, I don't really have too much to dog on it. I really, really love this movie.
I wish they would have shown more, like, gore. Or even, like, crime scene photos.
Sure. But think about it. It's still, we're coming out of the 80s. You know, there's, like, a lot of things that the FCC were regulating. I know it's rated R, but, like, we can get away with a lot more nowadays. Mm-hmm. On streaming services, let alone movies that came out in the theaters, you know? Like, people were freaking out, I'm sorry to mention it again, but people were freaking out about The Exorcist when she was, like, puking and saying, you know, cunt.
Right.
You know, people were like, whoa, you know, passing out in the theaters and shit. Can you imagine? You know, so with this, I think they were really pushing boundaries as far as, like, murder mystery stuff has gone. Right. And serial killers were still an active thing at that point in time, so... You know,
they probably don't want to freak people.
Yeah, they were tiptoeing around stuff, which they did it tastefully.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know any of that for sure, but that's just my take on it. But I think they did it really nicely. The other thing that I think I wish we would have seen on that is more of, like, how these women are being abducted.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, we got the one, right, where she gets in the back of the van, helps the guy load up the furniture or whatever, but...
Maybe that's how he got them all.
Could be. Yeah, could be. But I would like to have just seen, like, Because the thing that I'm still questioning is the girl that she goes to the house and talks to the father and then goes into the room and sees like the dresses. Why was she just abducted because she knew how to sew? Like,
well, because the house that he's living in,
right?
She used to work with. They used to work together, but she had been dead for a while.
I know, that's what I'm saying. It was a weird, like, I didn't put the puzzle pieces together on that. And maybe someone who's listening to this, this far in, will be able to.
I wonder if she
that.
had gone there to work or something, and he was like, "Oh, she sold the house. She no longer lives here. Whatever." And then she was just like, "Okay," and she left. And then he was like, "Oh, she's a bigger girl. I'm interested." And then,
maybe,
I don't know.
I mean, that makes sense. I wouldn't be against that if it was the situation, but okay, cool. I think the reason why they did sequels, though, 10 years after the first one, is so we could get some more gore. Because there is a scene, if I'm remembering correctly, and maybe I'm not, but there's a scene where, like, Hannibal is cutting a guy's brain out and, like, frying up his brain and feeding it to him. And he's, like, eating his own brain. He's like, this was really good, while his brain's, like, exposed. I'm pretty sure that's Hannibal.
Okay. Yeah, because I know they made, what is it? CBS. They made, like, a show called Clarice.
Did they?
Yeah, and it's based on Clarice.
So kind of like what, wasn't it Netflix that did the One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest nurse? What was her name?
Nurse Ratched?
Ratched. Didn't they do a Ratched show, too?
Yeah.
So kind of the same thing.
So I guess it was on Pluto, but...
Oh, yeah, so no one watched that.
It was called Clarice, and it's, like, her returning after the events of Silence of the Lambs.
Oh, is she not in the sequel?
She must not be.
That's interesting. Okay.
But yeah,
we'll have to watch the sequels and maybe do a episode on those.
Yeah.
Not for the Halloween Extravaganza 3, because we only have a few short weeks to go here, and it's not in the schedule. Can't squeeze anything in.
Exactly.
We watch these every day. And record.
We don't have time for that.
No, there's no time. Come home from work every day. Get straight to the couch and watch a movie, and then come into the basement and then edit it all and upload it.
And then go to bed and do the same thing all
Yeah,
over
we
again.
never watch anything ahead of time.
Never.
How do we rate things around here?
We rate things on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 obviously being the lowest, 10 being the highest, and then we rate it based on picking or flicking it. Picking it meaning that we would recommend you watch it, and flicking mean that we watched it so you don't have to.
Wow. You're getting better at those.
I'm trying.
I know. So first things first.
I'm the realist.
Stop it. We'll start with, do you pick or do you flick?
Pick it, obviously.
Yeah, it's a big pick. If we don't know where the scores are going at this point, we need to readjust ourselves here.
Right.
Out of 10, what'd you give it?
9.
A 9?
Yeah.
All right. I give it a whopping 10.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
This movie is great. Super excited to watch it. I know we don't need to reiterate, but I was really, really happy to watch it again. And I picked up on a few more things than I remember seeing before, because I probably haven't watched it, like I said, since high school. So
right.
It was a fun
And
watch.
that's my thing. I think that I haven't watched it, and if I ever have watched it,
right.
the whole thing through. So.
Yeah, this was a blast to watch, so I was really excited for it.
Yeah.
Do you ever think, that this is a complete side note, do you think that a couple people are going to be like, these aren't horror movies, like, this has nothing to do with Halloween?
Maybe, but they're thrillers, so I think as long as it's a thriller, it's considered a horror movie.
Yeah, I was nervous with the one that we posted yesterday, the No Exit.
Yeah.
So I was like, is this even a thriller? And then it got kind of thriller.
It is, yeah.
So we're good. But
We're
stay
good.
tuned. We got more to come.
All right, stick around.
Stick around. Be here. Don't go anywhere. Thanks for watching.
Bye.